Why business owners need to be on camera.
Let's get into it.
Video Mavericks, the small business video marketing podcast. Presented by Workshop Media. With your hosts, Brett and Jeff, sharing a combined 40 years of video production and marketing experience. Take it away.
All right, so you got to get on camera. You're a small business owner, you're a leader of your business in some way, then you got to connect with your audience. And you know, there's no better way than to be authentically you and represent your brand from a human perspective. And it's not this large entity. It may be, but you also want to make that connection. You're the reason why this thing is what it is.
Yeah, so if things are working for you, they're only going to work better if people can connect with you, and they can connect with the fact that the business is run by real people.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Unless AI created the business.
Unless AI created it.
But then AI might create a human representation of the owner that is also. All right, so AI did not create the. Maybe. I immediately think like 1980s robot when I went AI on that. Anyway,
it's real smart now.
Okay. So anyway, let's break down, why business owners should be on camera. It's authenticity, relatability, and it's ultimately going to drive more engagement with your business.
Yep.
There's a face and a voice and a name that we can associate the brand with.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
Let's talk about it.
So people buy from people, not faceless brands. So there are cases where, a brand is going to use a spokesperson, or they're going to use a whole, cadre of spokespeople to get their message out there to sell their product. But they're still connecting with people. And so what we're saying is, on a core level, the business it should be personified. And what better way than to take the ownership in the public eye and be a voice for the brand?
That's right. And you may feel a certain way about what I'm going to say next, but it still works regardless.
Yeah.
So think about Apple and Steve Jobs / Tim Cook and some of the other experts they bring in when they do their big events and stuff. There's like new names that they're starting to kind of stick. But anyway, Elon Musk and Tesla, Richard Branson, Virgin, and all of there's all these different, entrepreneurs and founders, Mark Zuckerberg. You start aligning with the person. No matter how you feel about any of the people I just mentioned, they're still synonymous with the name because the brand didn't just come from nothing, right? We have that connection. It gets to a point, and then we need more. We need more connection. We need to understand more about the story and where they came from and why they are who they are and what makes them different. So that those entrepreneurs, those business leaders, they matter. It humanizes the brand.
Yeah, and if you take the concept there with those huge names and you apply it for the sake of this example, apply it at a hyper local level where that person's actually going to be behind the counter of the shop, or they're going to be the one on the phone for the sales call, then it becomes even more effective in building a core audience of folks who are going to trust the brand, regardless of what the brand is selling at any given moment, because you're building an audience that is invested in the business because of the people behind it. So, if the business is an authentic representation of who you are and all of those things align, which chances are they do because that's why you do this, then it's going to be a great way to just go, hey, here's the person.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to trust that person because I know who they are now.
Right. As opposed to a logo, which we align with logos too, right? We align with, so that's great. And that's why I mentioned earlier, there's going to be one reason or another why you might feel a certain way about the person behind the brand.
Right.
But if you can get past some of those issues, whatever they may be, and see the greater connection,
the idea of being a person being behind the brand is
that's
important.
Right. Yep. So personal brands will outperform corporate brands in engagement.
Yeah.
So when we think about that, you have, especially as it pertains to social media, like there's a lot of people have a lot of airtime, a lot of platform space now.
Yeah.
People we've never even heard of, right? You have that. That's because they're making themselves into the thing that is needed.
They're called
for
those folks
audiences
are
to
called
follow.
they're called influencers for a reason.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And brands are now,
Yeah.
taking, well, not now, but they have been, or
Yep.
utilizing partnerships and
So what
affiliations with these people.
What those brands are doing in that case is they're buying into the person, the audience that the person has built, because that person's already created a personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're suggesting in a nutshell is build that audience. Begin to build that audience yourself by creating a trust in you as a person.
Yep. And this is a little bit of an offshoot, but think about your personal brand, right? So you might feel uncomfortable being on camera or representing the business you've built. There's so many more. There's almost an endless amount, right, of your team, the people, your contractors, your vendors, your suppliers, all the different, there's a lot that goes into it, but ultimately you are the business owner. You started this thing. And so you might want to think about your personal brand. If you do take the leap to represent your business from that human connection perspective, start thinking about how you brand yourself. How do you want to be perceived as a person, somebody that has values and what you represent and how that pertains to the business?
Yep.
That might help you feel a little bit more confident. I know that's kind of a tangent there, but it kind of speaks a little bit to the influencer thing. Those are all personal brands. They're all, a lot of cases, especially with social media, a lot of cases is not who they really are. This is me putting on,
They built a character.
This is who I want to be online. But
outside of the social media world, something we talked about before we started recording the show was some of the different ways that business owners can be on camera that will get them connected with the brand without it being every single piece of content that's out there. And so when we talk about, being the face of the brand, it doesn't mean that you have to be in every single product video or every single this or that. It just means that be willing and be available to be seen and to be connected with the business.
Yep. A simple founder's message, owner's message, a quarterly update, a message to our customers, whatever it is. It could be, a thank you to your customers. It could be anything. It's just that thought leadership potential, the authority behind the brand, the person that's there, right? It doesn't have to be that I am now going to be considered as the owner of somebody that hates being on camera, that is going to be the spokesperson of everything that we do as an organization. That's not at all what we're saying. And honestly, it's the opposite of what we're saying, right? You still want your brand to be what it is, your business as you designed it and as you've continued to craft it and how it's evolved. But we're just saying utilize some kind of supplemental content, get on camera because it matters in the connection portion of your buyer's journey.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to have an impact on particularly trust. And we know that higher trust will ultimately lead to higher conversion rates. And
that's what
we're looking
marketing
for.
is. It's that messaging, the right people, the right message, the right time, getting them to know you, like you, trust you. We're constantly, I might be saying this in my sleep at this point, but trust is going to get you. It's going to, it's going to get you those higher conversions. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So how do we get comfortable being on camera? What are some ways that, we can start to encourage folks to get on camera? Maybe if they haven't done it before, or they have, and it's not, been what they wanted it to be.
We always say, do it in the mirror, go look at yourself doing it and get past how you feel about yourself maybe, but start small. Come up with some things. I mean, you could even look in the mirror and recite your favorite scenes from a movie. Just start seeing and feeling what it's going to be like. Smile. Lose the focus. Don't do it live, right? Obviously. Then you could look at this. You could film with your phone and you can go, oh, I did it.
I like that.
That was garbage. I'm not going to put that online. Let me try again.
I really like the recording your comments and then watching it back right then, and then watching it back later that day or the next day and go,
ask your husband or wife to watch it back with you.
As a viewer, you go, whoa, that was great. Or yikes, I definitely don't want to say that. Or
play a little bit of music in the background when you watch. Film yourself in a good light. Just try to help yourself out at every turn. So when you watch it back as a viewer, you're going, I can see this. Okay, I can see myself maybe doing this. Right? don't just wing it unless that's your
Your
that's
style.
your style, that's
Yeah.
your method of doing it. Even when you wing it, have some bullet points, have a framework that might help you get to the what, the why, the how, whatever it is that's going to help you get through it, because it might feel live. And once you kind of take yourself out of it and you start to freak out and then you go, like, what do I say next? That framework's going to help you.
Yeah, even if you're doing like, let's say you're gonna be on camera, giving a little behind the scenes glimpse of your operation, or you're walking around meeting the team, but you're the face of it. Even that type of thing, you should still have a basic plan for what you're doing. You will have thought about it because there would have been an idea that popped in your head that I'm going to do this. So there's already something there. Just take that extra step and maybe jot it down. You know, okay, for the behind the scenes, I'm going to start here and I'm going to walk over there and I want to make sure I cover these points. It's as simple as that.
Maybe that's our experience speaking to that though. I mean, I kind of imagine doing that same thing. Go, let's just pop in real quick and see what Tyler's doing.
Yeah.
And you go like, all right, well, that's cool because it plays authentic and off the cuff to the viewer, but it also does to you. So you can still have a plan and it be authentic and off the cuff to the viewer.
Absolutely.
So I would much rather go into it with a plan and kind of skew from it a little bit, but still have a foundation to stand on,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're speaking on stage in front of 1,000 people, you're probably going to want to have an idea before you step up there what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Be pretty wild to just go, I'm going to be on stage tomorrow. I'm going
to talk for an hour and see what happens.
I'm not going to think about it till then.
I slept great last night. I didn't stress at all. And authenticity, we talk about a lot too, is much better than perfection. Let's not forget, you're a business owner, you're a business leader. There's not a lot of time to start crafting scripts and coming up with the absolute perfect shot and this, that, and the other. Relatability is going to be far better for you than perfection, right? So be authentically you.
If you're talking about things that are well within your wheelhouse, then it's going to be obvious. If you're speaking out of your wheelhouse, that's also going to be obvious. So, when we talk about the being authentic, it also means make sure that whatever it is you're going to be doing on camera fits with who you are and what you do, right? And maybe try to keep it in your world. But that relatability over perfection, there is a balance where you want to maintain a professional appearance. You want to maintain the integrity of your brand. If you're on camera as a owner of a running store, that's a very different personality than if you're on camera as the owner of a law firm. Right. One may be a little bit more casual. I'm not going to say which one. It may be a very serious running store.
It is. And man, that law firm, they a bunch of jokesters, aren't they?
But it's maintain your brand integrity, but be genuine. You're a person. The whole point here is to connect on a personal level. So be authentic.
Get yourself on camera, start small, be authentic. Create a little bit of a framework so it makes it easier for you. It's a repeatable process too. If you start to, get the bug and want to do this a lot more, but ultimately, you got to do it. You're gonna see an increase, no matter whatever your metrics are for success. You're gonna see an increase in engagement online. It could be sales. It could be your profitability. Anyway, you need to do it because if you're not doing it now, you're leaving money on the table potentially. So,
And as you're thinking about this, now that we've talked about it, pay attention to how much you see it. Pay attention to how much you see other brands and what other brands you see ownership out there or leadership out there in some way. I think you'll see that it's a lot more prevalent than you might otherwise think, and that it can come in all different forms and be presented in a lot of different ways and across different platforms. So pay attention to it and look for those, the inspiration and what's working for some of your favorite businesses out there.
So look, challenge yourself. Record a short video, little intro to who you are and why you started the business maybe, or what you set out to do, with your business and how you're solving it for your customers. But just kind of be that person, be that host for the brand, and go ahead and share it and see what you get back, see what happens, and you can always refine it, revise it, and try again. Or you could comment below and say, I did it, I hate it, I'm never doing it again. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you shake it off and I think you'll feel pretty good about it, and you'll start to see some positive results. So your audience wants to see the real you, and they want to know the humans that operate underneath that brand umbrella. So
that's right. All right, that's it. So we do this show weekly. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to leave a comment, subscribe wherever you listen, and we'll see you next time.